Now, third stage. This ain't the fun stage. This stage is dominated by professionals, and this is buyer beware. This is the trustee sale auction. And this is when the county, via the trustee, and again, every state is different. I'm talking about California, the Golden State. All right. Properties are auctioned publicly. Buyer needs cash or cashier's check. It's a cash transaction. It's not finance. When I say cash or cashier's check, when you bid yourself, you have to have a cashier's check that you bring and you show to the trustee who's handling the auction. There's a neutral third party hired by the beneficiary, the lender, up front to handle this process, right? Now, if you don't personally have a cashier's check or cash for the whole amount, what you can do is you can partner, and I'll go into this a little bit. You can partner with professionals. There's companies who buy and sell stuff every single day at the courthouse steps, and you can make an arrangement. They will buy on your behalf, but they want to make sure you got the cash before they do that. And they can also potentially finance you with, you put some money down. But that's where this is not I'm going to Bank of America to get a loan to do this. No. Another thing, challenges. There is no clean title. When you buy at the courthouse steps, you are taking a risk. So you need to do your due diligence and make sure that the title is clean. Now, a lot of times the title's not clean, right? Foreclosure wipes out certain liens, but it doesn't wipe out other liens, like mechanics liens. They don't get wiped out. That's foreclosure, all right? Secondary junior liens can get wiped out. A lot of times, utility liens, IRS liens, any sort of tax liens, mechanics liens, they do not get wiped out at the foreclosure. Very important for you to understand that. All right. This is also a competitive process. It is a bid. It's like an auction you see on TV, 35, 45, 55. It's literally like that. All right. So it's no guarantee that you're going to get the property if you're a buyer here. And this is just a very, now, as from a seller's perspective, and let's get to that. Seller's perspective, well, you really don't have no options once it hits this point. All right. I mean, if the property is being auctioned off, you want to do everything you can do to prevent this from happening. Right. Now, at this point, you just gotta, pay off the full balance or negotiate with the lender, hope and pray that they postpone it. Sometimes they will. I've even had this happen back in the day where there was an agent trying to sell a property. He reached out to me. I had a client that wanted to buy it. We literally, the day before the trustee sale, wired all the money, not partial of the money, all of the money to the seller's lender. And they still foreclosed. And the reason being was they had to see that the money was in their account. They had to confirm that it was in the account, and the money had arrived in their account the day before, but for whatever reason, they weren't able to communicate one department to the next, and they foreclosed upon it. It's a very, very frustrating situation for everyone involved. All right. But that's why I say the options are very limited here from the ownership side. And we want to do whatever we can do to prevent it from getting to this point. Now, one thing I will say is let's say you owe $200,000 on your property. Well, okay, it's California. Let's say you owe $500,000 on the property, right? And it gets auctioned off, and the minimum bid is, they typically will set the minimum bid at what they're owed, but sometimes they'll set it below that. Depends on the situation. If they at the courthouse steps, and this is something that is a bonus, a lot of people don't know about that. If they sell it, let's say for more than they're owed, meaning the loan, the principal balance, the back payments that were missed, all of the default interest, all of the legal fees for the foreclosure, if they sell it at the courthouse steps, at the auction, over and above what was owed to the lender, that overage actually goes to the seller, goes to the owner who lost the property. But it goes through, a lot of times it'll go through a state process. They're not going to just voluntarily call you back and give you that money. A lot of time that money gets into the state and it goes through a process. But knowing, if you as an owner know, hey, I lost my property, I owe the lender $500,000, but they sold it for $600,000. There's actually some money in it for you, but you have to track the process and you have to go after it. It's very difficult to get those funds. All right. But just letting you know, your options are severely limited at this point. For buyers and investors, This is not the best time to buy property because you are going against the sharks and the wolves who do this every single day, right? And so if you're not somebody who does this every single day, it is a big risk for you because again, you got to come in with cash, right? There's no clean title, very competitive, right? So you maybe think, oh, I'm gonna get this property for 500,000, but then it gets competitive and it goes over 600,000, and maybe you don't have that money, or it doesn't make sense to buy it at that price when you could have bought it in the NTS or NOD stage, and before it went to the bidding war, right? The best thing to do here, if you're not a professional, is to partner with professionals. Now, this is not what we do as brokers or investors, but there are people who their whole business is buying and selling at the courthouse steps, right? But I really don't recommend this unless, again, you're a seasoned professional or you work with some seasoned professionals. Even if you work with them, it's very expensive. So there's better ways to do it. But I just want to make you guys aware. All right. Now,